the recording. So for those joining the recording, just want you to know that we're going to be using a wall today, or like a door or something you could put your back against. You could put your heels up on the wall. We're going to do that at the end. Otherwise, no props are required. So we are going to get started. So let's make our way over to our mats. And we'll begin. You can begin lying down. You could begin sitting up. You can make that first mindful decision about what would be better for you. How is your body feeling? Would your body enjoy lying down? Would it be better for you to start sitting up? Just make a decision, make a choice. And then if you're lying down, just feel the weight of your body settling into the floor. Go ahead and put your feet on the floor and feel that connection to the ground. If you're sitting up, root your sitting bones down and let it support your upright spine. And you might choose to keep your eyes a little bit open, or you might close your eyes. And let's begin just with an attitude of kindness as we start to develop mindful awareness. So we're just going to begin by noticing how it feels to be where you are right now. Notice the temperature of the air, the feeling of your clothing on your skin. Begin to notice the feeling of your body. And specifically if you're clenching or gripping anywhere or furrowing. And if you are noticing any of that, see if you can invite those areas to soften and relax. Take a moment to bring your awareness to the roof of your mouth, inviting the roof of the mouth to soften and broaden. And then begin to tap into the feeling of your breathing, the feeling of your breath as it flows in and expands into your lungs. Feeling of your breath as it releases, allowing your breath to empty all the way out. So just immersing yourself in this feeling of breathing now. Let the breath be full and deep and expansive. Let your exhale be a complete letting go. As you're breathing, I'm just going to share one of my favorite readings from Dan Falls called One Breath at a Time. Breathe with me in the rhythm of mountain streams, in the hypnotizing cadence of waves breaking on the shore. Breathe in the peace that plays just beneath the agitated surface of the mind. Find the breath that expresses your connection to the silence, to abiding forgiveness, to the shining light of spirit in your heart. Your own true breath can release you from the prison of your fears and plumb the depths of your awareness. It all starts here. The choice to breathe, relax, and feel. The choice to witness without judgment and allow the truth of life to be revealed. That ends Dana's words. And when I read that last sentence, that breathing allows the truth of life to be revealed, for me, it's a reminder that the breath helps us to understand that we live in the present moment, that what we're experiencing now is what we have. This is that fullness, that richness of life, what we have right here and now. In this moment, we have this precious gift of life. We're able to move, we're able to experience. So this time on our mats can be almost a celebration, that recognition of all that we can experience and feel in the present moment. We can set everything else aside for this hour and just really dive into the fullness of what we have. So I invite you to do that this morning. Before we begin our movement practice, just take a moment to recognize and acknowledge how you're feeling this morning, physically, mentally, emotionally. And just as you would do with a friend who is confiding those things to you, offer yourself empathy, love, compassion for how you're feeling. And set an intention to treat yourself appropriately in this next hour, perhaps for the whole day. Treat yourself appropriately for how you're doing, how you're feeling. And then when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. If you're sitting up, make your way to lying down. We're going to begin in that constructive rest position with feet on the floor. And when we're lying like this with feet on the floor, our spine will settle into its neutral spine position. So you can feel the back of your ribs on the floor. You can feel your sacrum on the floor, but there's generally a little curve in the low back there. That's your kind of neutral position of your spine. So could you hold that neutral spine position as you lift one foot off the floor and bring your knee up, and then put that foot back down, and then connect with the feeling of that neutral position as you lift the other foot up, knee comes up, and that foot goes back down. So can you maintain that neutral spine position as you lift both feet up off the floor and bring your knees up, and then bring your feet back down? So as your feet go back down, your spine might want to arch, your low back might want to arch a bit more. So your core has to fire. Try it again. Bring your knees up. And can you maintain neutral spine as you lower your feet back down? So don't let the back change from that neutral spine position. Do that again. Bring your knees up. Keep neutral spine as your feet lower down. Do you feel how the belly fires? Then bring your knees up. And can you extend your legs out on a high angle, maintaining that neutral spine, and then bring the knees back? So you might continue with that high angle of the legs to maintain neutral spine. I want you to explore taking the legs a little bit further out and a little lower. Can you maintain neutral spine? And just kind of play around with that. Maybe your legs need to go up quite high to maintain neutral spine. Maybe you could take your legs a little further, a little lower. But be honest with yourself. No one else, no one's watching. So just make this be an exploration. What is the angle of your legs that you can get to and maintain neutral spine? It's just going to require your core to support the movement of the legs to keep the spine in that neutral position. So maybe play around with that one more time. And then go ahead and release your feet to the floor. And then let's lift our heads up, clasp our hands under our head, letting the weight of the head rest into the hands, elbows wide. We'll take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to knit the ribs. So knit your low ribs down into your belly to begin curling up, and then curl up head, neck, and shoulders. Get the low ribs pressing into the floor, the shoulder blades off the floor here, and then inhale and release back. Again, exhale, knit the ribs and curl up. Kind of look beyond your knees, and then inhale and release back. One more time, knit the ribs and curl up. Inhale and release back. All right, take your feet off the floor, knees over hips. Take a breath in. As we exhale, we'll curl up. Let's extend the right leg out and then twist across with the right elbow towards the left knee. And then we'll bring the knee back as we inhale the head down. Exhale, curl up, extend the left leg and twist across. Inhale and lower down. Exhale, curl up, twist across, leg extends, and then come back and down. And just continue like this. And as we curl up and twist across, instead of just thinking about the elbow to knee, let's think about bringing the rib cage towards that opposite thigh. So working from the midsection, not pulling on the head. Yeah, making sure that that shoulder blade comes off the floor as you twist across. So we'll do a few more of these. Waking up the core, building some heat in the body. Cultivating that strong central core to support our all kinds of movement. Let's do one more time on each side. Great, and then release your head down. Just grab your knees and hug them in. Take your hands to the outside of your knees, and as you take your knees apart, press your hands in. So your knees are opening out to the side, but your hands are pushing your knees in. So there's a little bit of work happening to open the legs up. And then place your hands on the inside of the knees. You might want to take your knees a little further apart and get a little stretch. But then with your hands pressing your knees apart, try to bring your knees back together, but your arms are resisting that action. So your inner thighs are going to fire here. Let's do that again. Hands come to the outside of the knees. As your knees open out wide, your hands are trying to push your knees back in. So there's a little work in the muscles of the hip. And then hands on the inside of the knees, resisting the drawing of the knees back in. So your inner thighs are firing. One more time. Press in as your knees open out. And then press your hands inside of the knees as your knees draw back in. Your hands are pushing them apart. Nice job. Let's lift our legs up in the air, dropping our arms at our side, and just alternate flexing and pointing the feet. Getting a little stretch in the feet and the ankles, the back of the legs. Circle your feet around in one direction, wiggle your toes, loosen things up, circle the other way. Nice job. Nice deep breath in and out here. And then let's go ahead and bend our knees, release our feet down. We'll roll to the side. Let's come all the way around to all fours. Kneeling and cushioning the knees. If you're on a hard surface, you might want to put a blanket under your knees. Let's get our knees under our hips, our wrists underneath our shoulders. Can you find that neutral spine position here now? So the belly's not dropping down, the back isn't rounded. It's that nice long neutral spine from tail to crown, those natural curves in the spine. From this neutral spine, we'll take a breath in. As we exhale, let's start to drop the tailbone down and round all through the spine, pressing into the hands, dropping the head. Then as we start to breathe in, we'll come back to neutral spine. Let's start to tip the pelvis up, drop the belly down, draw the heart forward, and extend and breathe. And then just flow between those two movements, moving into cat pose, rounding. You can move a little front and back if you like, or side to side. And then moving into extension or arching the back as you breathe in. Moving in any way that feels nice and supportive for your spine. And then eventually coming back to that neutral spine. From here, if your wrists or your hands give you some trouble, feel free to cushion your hands on a blanket or something. We're going to take one leg back. Let's take the right leg back, pressing out through the heel. We'll take the opposite arm and reach it forward. And one option would be to just hold here, spinal balance, pressing back, reaching forward. Other option is to take a breath in and then bring the knee in toward the elbow in toward the knee, lifting up in the belly, and then reaching that arm and leg out. So we'll breathe in as we reach out. We'll exhale as we hug elbow to knee. Inhale and reach out. Exhale, hug up and in. Again, inhale and reach out. Exhale, hug up and in. One more time, reach out. Exhale, hug up and in. We'll reach out and hold again. Get nice and long. And then release that hand and knee down. Let's do the other side. Press out through your other heel, nice and long. Reach the opposite arm out in front. And you could just hold here or take a breath in. With your exhale, draw that elbow into knee, lift up in the belly. Inhale, reach out long. Exhale, hug up and in. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, draw up and in. Two more, reach out. Exhale, hug up and in. Last time, reach out. Exhale, hug up and in. And then reach out and hold. Nice big breath. And then hand and knee coming back down. Nice. Let's go ahead and sit back on our heels, dropping into child's pose here. So letting the spine round as your head comes to rest on the floor or on your bent arms. Taking some time to breathe into the back of the ribs here, and then allowing the breath to fully empty and release. Relishing this moment, this breath, connecting with how we're feeling, offering ourselves some love, compassion, empathy, kindness. And with your next breath in, lift your head up and reach your arms out in front. Begin to make your way to downward facing dog. As we come into down dog, I say this every time, root your hands into the floor. I say that on purpose because it's important. It's the most important part probably. Well, there's many elements of this pose that are important, but that connection of the hands, the thumbs, the fingers, the knuckles, the heels of the hands, spread that weight out evenly into your whole hand. Feel that support. And then with your knees a little soft, draw your hips up and back. Take a breath in. As you exhale, just let it go. Sigh it out, high it out. Let your head just dangle. Let's go ahead and bend the knee and press a heel down. And then bend the other knee and press the other heel down. Get that nice stretch through the bottom part of the leg into the heel. And again. Then let's bend both knees a bit and see if we can take the hips a little further up and back, as if someone's got that strap right in the crease of the hip and is pulling you up and back. Deep breath in and out. Then walk your hands back towards your feet, lowering your heels down. End up folded over bent knees, arms and heads dangling down. Feel your feet nice and planted. Take a breath into your upper back. Allow that breath to release and empty out. And then draw your belly in and begin to roll yourself up. Feel your spine again. Feel those vertebrae beginning to stack one on top of the other. Connect with that feeling of your spine unfurling. As you start to straighten up, the last thing to come up will be your head. Now ground down through your feet as you take your arms out wide. And then as you're grounding down, inhale and reach up, lengthen and lift. And then exhale your arms down at your sides. Great. All right, so we're going to use the wall. As I said, I want you to just stand with your back to the wall. So I want you to be right up near the wall, but your heels not right up against the wall, so that's space for your bum, right? So your heels are close, but not against the wall. But I want you to see if you can feel that neutral spine position again. So your sacrum is on the wall, the lower ribs are on the wall, and then we're going to make an effort to get our head back. And some of us are not going to be able to get our head back against the wall. Many of us, if we're going to get our head to the wall, what we end up doing is lifting the chin, and then the upper part of the back of the head is there. Rather than that, tuck your chin in, lengthen the back of your neck, and get the back of your head as close to the wall as you can. If it requires lifting the chin up, don't do that. Just get as close as you can. And then, can you relax into neutral spines? There might be a lot of effort in this trying to get the head back. And in doing so, you might have jutted your ribs forward. So you might want to think about knitting those ribs in a bit to maintain that neutral alignment of the spine. Again, the head is working, the back of the neck is lengthening, the chin stays tucked in, and maybe the head is against the wall, maybe not, but you're just like working towards a little better posture here. And then with your feet grounding down, with your spine aligned, with your ribs a little knit, take your arms out wide. See how wide apart your hands can become, broadening across the chest and back, reaching out through the fingertips. And then can we slide our arms up? Maybe the hands are against the wall, maybe they're a little forward. It's fine either way. But as your arms go up, is your back arching, and can you knit your ribs in so that the back stays in that neutral alignment? What about taking the arms out into cactus position? Again, maybe the elbows, the hands are against the wall, maybe they're not, but just working towards that openness from elbow to elbow, from hand to hand. Let's breathe in and out here and checking in with best we can that neutral alignment of the spine with empathy, compassion, understanding. And then begin to let your arms lower down. Let's come away from the wall, although you might want to have the wall to hold on to, or you might want to have a chair to hold on to, because this is going to challenge our balance a little bit. With our feet right beneath us, we're just going to start by lifting the heels up and then lowering the heels down. So we're just working to strengthen the ankles a little bit, lifting the heels up and lowering the heels down. And you might wobble a little forward and stuff, that's okay. I'm sure I might do that as well. So one option is just working here, lifting the heels up and lowering the heels down. Now for a little challenge, if you'd like, once your heels come up, could you lift one leg up and then lower the heel down? So you're lifting both heels up and then lifting one foot off the floor and lowering the heel down. A little more work for the ankles. So you might be just lifting and lowering, or you could take one foot off and lower down, bring those heels up, and maybe lower down. If you want to even more intense challenge, you could try with one foot off the floor, lifting and lowering down. It's much harder. You might need a chair. So can you lift and lower down without falling over? So whatever we're doing, we're just trying to strengthen our ankles, right? So whatever practice seems right for you, you might notice that one leg is stronger than the other, which could contribute to better balance on one leg than the other. And you notice it's not just your ankle that's working here, right? The muscles in the legs are all connected. So we want strong ankles, strong calves, strong thighs, strong hips to support us as we try to balance. And all those things get weaker as we get older. So it's a good thing we're working on this, right? All right, good work. All right, let's make our way now to the front of our mats. We'll stand in mountain pose, so grounding down, standing tall, just kind of like what we were doing with our backs against the wall. And from here, let's reach the arms out, inhale and reach them up. As we exhale, we'll swan dive forward. Softening the knees as you fold over. So I always say soft knees because it's a little easier on the low back. You're welcome to straighten the legs if that's fine for your low back. So softness is protective in the knees, but if you want that deeper stretch, now would be a time to explore lifting the sitting bones up or drawing your head in towards your legs if that seems better for you. Breathe in and out. And then let's place hands on shins. And as we take our next breath in, we'll extend and lengthen through the crown of the head, coming halfway up. And then we'll exhale and fold over again. We'll bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Rounding through the hands as your hips go up and back, take a breath in. As we exhale, let's lower to straight arm plank. Option to stay here or drop to your knees. Other option is going to be to roll to the sides of the feet and lift one arm up, coming into side plank. Getting nice and long from your feet to the crown of your head. Let's take a breath here. And then exhale back to straight arm plank. Let's go to the other side. Roll to the sides of the feet. Press down with the bottom arm as you lift up with the other arm. Hold here for a breath. And then exhale back to straight arm plank. Hold here for a breath. As you exhale, let's bend the elbows a bit. Elbows pointing back towards the feet rather than winging out to the side. Take another breath here. As we exhale, we'll lower down. You could drop to knees first. Lower all the way down onto belly, into prone mountain, letting the heels of the hands slide back by the low ribs as the chest sinks into the floor. Hovering that nose right off the floor. Toes reach back as we lengthen through the crown of the head. So again, we're more or less in a neutral spine position here. And we're going to move into cobra, which is extending or arching the spine. But I'd like to invite you to consider knitting your ribs in a bit here in this prone position, which is a little different than what we normally do. But knit your ribs in a little bit and then try to extend your spine. So rather than arching more in the low back, it's going to encourage a little more extension in the upper back and then lower back down. So you could do that again. You could keep your ribs knitting as you move into extension, or you could just move into your natural cobra. But I wanted you to kind of explore how that feels. Moving into extension, baby cobra here, and then lowering back down. So let's do baby cobra again with the in-breath. And then hold here, maybe lifting the hands a little bit off the floor or lifting the elbows up and hugging them in toward the midline. And then we'll release the hands and release the chest. So one more time, if you like, you could come up into baby cobra. If you'd like, you could come up higher into a full cobra, keeping the hips on the floor and then lowering yourself back down. Let's push back to knees, take the hips back, curl the toes under and come up to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. And then I'd like you to drop onto your knees and then come up to stand on your knees. Let's take the right foot out in front, stepping that heel a little forward of your knee. You can put your hands on that front thigh. And then think about putting a little weight in the back knee and shin as you start to move the weight forward into that front foot. So there's a little pressing down with the back knee and shin as your hips move forward here. And then just take the weight back onto that back knee. Press down with that back leg as you shift your hips forward, putting some weight in that front foot. And then take the weight back again. One more time, the little weight in the back knee and shin as the front knee moves forward. And then same arm as the back leg, we're going to sweep it up and overhead, breathing in. Keep that arm up as you release the breath. Take your other arm, inhale and sweep that arm up and overhead. And then with our exhale, let's bring both hands down to the floor, maybe letting the hips sink a little further forward. You could explore lifting the back leg up a bit and getting a bigger stretch in the front of the thigh. And then lowering that back leg down, let's curl the toes under And we're gonna press up to lunge, lifting that back knee off the floor. Make sure your feet are at least hip distance apart here. And then press into the front foot and rise up, straightening the front leg. Let's put our hands on our hips and square our hips to the short line of the mat in front of us. And then we'll bend the front knee. Let's push into the front foot to straighten the front leg. Again, bend the front knee, push down to straighten. One more time like that, bend the front knee, push the foot down to straighten. This time bending the front knee, stay there, drop your arms down, sweep them forward and up and overhead. Big breath in as you reach up. We'll exhale our hands forward and all the way down to the floor. And we're going to step back to down dog. You can drop to your knees first if you like, and then eventually transition to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. And then again, drop to your knees. Come to stand on your knees. This time we're going to step the left foot forward. Again, bring your heel a little forward of your knee. Your hands can go on that front thigh. Put a little weight in the back knee and shin, and then let the hips shift forward. Weight into the front foot. And then push the weight back. Again, pressing down with the back knee and shin as the front knee moves forward, the hips shift forward. And then pushing the weight back. One more time, weight in the back knee and shin as the hips move forward. And then same arm as the back leg, sweep it up as you breathe in. Keep that arm up as you release the breath. Take the other arm, sweep it up, breathe in. Exhale, arms still up. Take one more breath, stretching up. And then exhale, both hands down to the floor, letting the hips maybe sink a little further, maybe lifting that back heel up or foot off the floor to feel a deeper stretch in the thigh. And then lowering that foot down, curl the toes under, lift the back knee up. You're in a low lunge here. Feet are hip distance apart. Bring hands onto the front leg. Straighten yourself up, straighten your front leg. Square your hips to the front line of your mat. And then let's bend into the front knee. Push that front foot down to straighten the leg. Bend into the front knee. Push down to straighten that leg. And again, bending the front knee and straightening the front leg. Let's go ahead and bend the front knee and keep it bent. Dropping both arms down, we'll sweep them forward and up and overhead. Big breath in as we reach up. We'll exhale our hands all the way down to the mat and make our way back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Exhale and lower to straight arm plank. Let's try that side plank again. You could always drop onto the knee that's further from your device and turn that foot back and then press down to lift up. So a modified side plank, or you're rolling to the sides of the feet, or you're just holding plank, or you're on your knees. Let's come back to straight arm plank and then transition to the other side, pressing down to lift up, taking a breath. Coming back to straight arm plank. Let's hold here, taking a breath. We'll exhale, a little bend in the elbows. Try not to let your hips sink down as you do this. Take another breath. Exhale all the way down onto belly. Great, tops of the feet. Let's come onto the forearms. Get your elbows underneath your shoulders. Measure fingertip to elbow, elbow to fingertip. Then slice down with your forearms, lifting the chest. So can you knit your ribs in a little bit here to support your low back? And then curl your toes under. We're going to either come up onto knees for kneeling forearm plank, or we're going to lift the knees up and be in a full forearm plank. Just working to keep that core nice and strong here. So important. So we can just be holding this plank. We could be dropping one knee down at a time. We could be on our knees. You could be stirring the pot, just little circles with your hips, just to make it a little harder. If you're circling in one direction, go ahead and circle the other way. Just a few more times. We'll stay here for just a few more breaths. Pushing down with your forearms, building strength across the upper back. Let's hold for one more breath. And then lower yourself down. Take your elbows wide, let your head rest on your hands. Let everything relax for a moment here as the weight of the body rests into the floor. Then begin to press the front of your hips down. Press the tops of your feet down. Feel the back of the legs working. And then lift the legs off the floor, reaching back through the toes. Just feeling that work all through the backs of the legs into the glutes. Then lower your legs down. Let's bring our arms to our side, palms up, hovering the head here. Again, press the hips down, lift the legs up. We'll reach back through the fingertips. Let's draw the heart forward and create length here. So we're in like a baby cobra. We got the legs lifted, the palms to the ceiling. Fingertips are reaching back, heart is pulling forward. Length first, and then if you like, you could try lifting things a bit higher for one more breath. And then lowering back down. Let's bring our hands back next to chest. We'll push our weight up and back to our knees. Let's take the hips all the way back and sit all the way back into child's pose. Sitting back on your heels as best you can, lowering your weight of your head down onto something, connecting, breathing, checking in, breathing in that little kindness, consideration. Then when you're ready, lift your head up, reach your arms out. Let's make our way to downward facing dog one more time. Breathe in and out here. And then we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet, lowering our heels down. From here, let's bend the knees and lower the hips. And then we're going to reach the arms forward. So we're sitting back in a low chair. You could stay here just like this. You could try lifting your heels up here and then lowering your heels down. You could try bringing your arms up alongside your ears, and from here, try lifting your heels up and lowering your heels down. And then when you're ready, push down into your feet and legs. Inhale and rise up, reach up. And we'll exhale our arms down at our sides. Great. All right, let's go ahead and come into a wide stride. We'll turn the right foot in and turn the left foot out. We can have our, well, actually, let's start with our hands to heart. All right, go ahead and bend your front knee. So we get the knee over the heel. Let's keep this back hip turned in on the outer edge of the back foot, grounding into the floor. So as we bend into the front knee, our shoulders are probably kind of angled this way. Let's keep the lower body as it is, but just rotate the upper body so that our shoulders align with the long line of our mats. And then let's reach the arms up as we breathe in and reach them out as we breathe out. So can you relax the tops of the shoulders, but broaden across the chest and back? We might turn our gaze to look at that front hand. Can you think about the spine being nice and tall as you breathe in? As we exhale, let's drop the back hand on the back leg. Let's turn the front palm up. As we inhale, let's reach that arm up toward the ceiling. We'll exhale and let that arm come down. Begin to tip over from the hips and bring that front arm onto the front thigh. Take the back arm out in front and sweep it up and overhead, thumb up, pinky down. Let's roll the belly and chest under that arm and reach long with that top arm. Take a breath. Then sweep that arm down, reach it back behind you to inhale and rise back up to proud warrior, broad and open, tall. And exhale, arms down. Great. Let's straighten the front leg, turn the feet forward, turn that back foot in, turn your front foot out, bring your hands to heart, and go ahead and bend your front knee. So again, Nice, and so the weight tends to drop in the front foot when you bend the front knee, but put some weight in the back foot as well. Press the outer edge of that back foot into the floor. So the weight is in both feet. And then turn the chest so that your shoulders will align with the line of your mat. And then inhale and reach your arms up. Exhale and reach your arms out. Broad across the chest and back. Maybe turning your gaze over that front arm. Feel the spine aligned, tall, neutral. Take a breath in. Exhale the back hand on the back leg. Turn the front palm up. As you inhale, reach that arm up toward the ceiling. As you exhale, keep this length on that side, but tip over from the crease of the hip, letting that front arm rest on the front leg. Take your back arm out in front, sweep it overhead, thumb up, pinky down, roll the belly and chest to turn towards your device as you reach long with that top arm, breathe in. Then sweep that arm down, reach it back behind you, inhale and rise up again to proud warrior. And exhale your arms down. Great, straighten your front leg, turn your feet forward. Put your hands on your hips as you ground down through your feet, straighten yourself up, begin to lift your heart up, begin to arch the back to whatever degree feels right for you, maybe drawing your elbows in towards each other as you breathe in. And then begin to exhale and hinge forward from the crease of your hip, moving toward a flat back. Then continue to fold over, sliding your hands down your legs, folding over from the hip. Bring your hands to the floor and walk your hands out in front of you. Hands can be about shoulder width apart, and then take your hips back like as if you were in down dog. So your hips are going back, head dropping between the arms. Breathe in and out here. Then walk your hands back beneath you. Your knees can be soft as you start to bring your hands back onto your hips. Now press down into your feet and legs. Inhale and come to halfway up. Pause here to exhale. And then pressing down into the feet and legs, inhale and rise all the way up. Great. Bring your feet together or just jump your feet together. And we're going to make our way to the wall again, but this time we're going to sit sideways to the wall so that we get our hip right up against the wall. And then once we're right up against the wall, we're going to roll down and bring our legs up on the wall. And I'm going to try to move so maybe you can see me better. I don't know. So you're up against the wall. Your bum isn't right up against the wall, but it's close. A comfortable distance so you have your legs on the wall and it's not too much for your hamstrings. Separate your heels about as wide as your hips. Have your arms at your side. And as you're here, begin to press your heels into the wall. Pressing your heels into the wall so that the backs of the legs are firing, the hamstrings are working. And in addition to pressing your heels into the wall, imagine you're like clawing your heels into the wall and trying to claw your heels down a bit, making your knees bend a little bit. So there's a lot of effort of pushing the heels into the wall and clawing the heels down a bit, really firing up your hamstring. That's what we want to feel here. And then with all that action in the legs, let that strength in the hamstrings help you start to curl your hips up off the floor and start to lift up as though you were lifting into a bridge. So you're going to bring the weight up onto your shoulders. Take a breath here. And then with the support of the legs, really slowly, gradually, incrementally lower your spine vertebra by vertebra back down. So you can get that spinal articulation, cultivating that spinal mobility by releasing the spine, one vertebra, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. Some areas will articulate readily. Some areas might come down in a big chunk. Just notice, feel, pay attention, experience. Once you come all the way down, just let those hamstrings relax for a moment. And then do that same thing again. Push your heels into the wall, claw your heels down, fire up your hamstrings, use the strength of those hamstrings to lift your spine up off the floor. Try not to look away from, try to look straight up when you're bringing the weight up onto your shoulders. Don't turn your head. Take a breath at the top and then slowly, gradually again, lower yourself down, trying to feel that spinal articulation. Let the legs provide the support so you can release one vertebra and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. Best you can. It's easier in the upper spine, the thoracic spine. It can become more challenging at that juncture with the lumbar spine. It can become quite challenging in the lumbar spine. Do the best you can. And once you've made your way all the way down, again, just let everything relax. So there's a little fork in the road here. One option is to just hang out with your legs up the wall. Another option is to do what we've done, roll up and roll down. And the final option would be to come up onto the shoulders and move into shoulder stand. So I'm going to describe the shoulder stand option. We're going to roll up onto the shoulders as we did before. Then we're going to clasp our hands and kind of snug our shoulder blades in towards each other. Then we're going to place our hands on our low back, fingertips pointing up. And then we'll try taking one leg off the wall. We try taking the other leg off the wall. And if we feel supported, we can hang out here in shoulder stand for a while. Really lovely inversion. We don't want the legs straight up. We want them a little bit angled back. We don't want to turn our heads when we're doing this. So I don't really want you turning to look at your device. And some people would love to stay in shoulder stand for quite a while. Some people, if you want to come out, you can come out anytime you like. And as you come out of your shoulder stand, it's another opportunity to articulate your spine. So maybe we'll stay where we are if we're in shoulder stand a bit longer, or maybe you're rolling up and down, or maybe you're just hanging out with a gentle inversion of legs up the wall. It's all good. And for those of us who are in shoulder stand, some options of coming out here, you can bring your heels to the wall and roll down. You could bring your knees to nose and roll out from here, or you could take your feet overhead, reaching your toes to the floor. And then you could release your arms and slowly articulate out of this. Again, just trying to release vertebra by vertebra by vertebra by vertebra, best you can. All ending up with legs up the wall. Take a breath in and out here. And then we're going to place our feet on the wall and then push our hips away so that we have some room to roll to the side and push up to seated. Then we're going to come back to sitting in the middle of our mat. And we're going to do a seated twist. So if you feel like when you're sitting cross-legged, you're rolling back a little bit, you might want to sit up on your blanket, right? We want to be able to sit so that we have that neutral alignment of our spine. Some of us, if our hips are tight, we tend to roll back. We lose that neutral alignment. So sitting up on a block or a blanket might allow us to feel that neutral alignment of our spine. So once you've found that neutral alignment, let's just take the right hand across to the left knee and the left hand behind. So as that we bring that arm across, the hips start to rotate around. We're going to try to keep the navel facing forward, even as the upper body twists. So let's continue to spiral around to the right. Ribs, chest, shoulders, head and neck spiraling around to the right. But then take that right hip bone and bring it back towards the midline as the upper body spirals around the other way. And then take a few deep breaths in and out here. Feeling the breath moving in and allowing the breath to release and empty. Nice full deep breath in and out. And then begin to unwind yourself. And then we're going to go the other way. So the left hand comes across, the right arm goes behind. We're going to spiral around to the other direction, but take that, am I saying the wrong side? Take that right hip and bring it back towards the midline as you're spiraling around. And then breathe in and out. Nice, full, deep breaths. And then release back around. Let's begin to make our way to lying down. We could try rolling up and rolling down if you like. So as we turn sideways here, you might grab onto the back of your legs. We're going to sit up nice and tall and breathe in. And then as you exhale, just kind of start to round your low back. You can walk your hands along your legs as you start to lower your spine down. This is where it's nice if we worked on our spinal mobility that we can lower down incrementally. Once you're down, let your head come down and take a breath in. As you're breathing in, lift your head up, keep your neck long, start to roll up. And then as you're coming halfway up, exhale to help you come the rest of the way up. So you can do it holding on, or you can do it with straight legs. As we breathe in, we'll start to roll back and see if you can get to the point where your low ribs hit the floor, and then exhale the rest of the way. Reach your arms overhead. Start to inhale as you come up. Keep your neck long. As your low ribs come up, exhale to come the rest of the way up. So again, inhaling as we begin to roll back. Low ribs come down. Exhale the rest of the way. Reach your arms overhead. Inhale to start to come up. Neck is long. And then exhale to continue coming up. One more time. Inhale as you start to roll back. Exhale to release down. Maybe coming up one more time. Inhaling as you start to come up. Exhaling the rest of the way up. This time we'll lower down and we'll stay down. Once you're down, reach your arms overhead, big long stretch, fingers to toes. Then bring your arms up, slide your right knee into your chest, grab onto that knee, give it a hug. Let's take that knee and open it out to the side, breathing in. We'll bring that knee back, hug it, and take it across to the opposite shoulder. Then bring it back in. Let's change legs, drop that foot to the floor, grab the other knee, hug it in, and slide that first leg out straight. Give it a nice full hug. Then open that knee out to the side, taking a breath. Bring the knee back, grab it, bring it to the midline, bring it across to the opposite shoulder. Breathe into that outer hip. And then release that foot to the floor. All right, we're going to move into our final relaxation. So we want to take some time to set ourselves up to be nice and comfortable. I always like to put a little something under my head. Sometimes a little something under your knees is nice, because some of us, when we straighten our legs, we lose that neutral alignment of the spine. And a little support in the knees will allow us to just have that easy, natural, relaxed position. And that's what we want to connect with here, is that natural, relaxed state of our bodies. So as we, make sure you're warm, put on your socks or a layer if you need one. Set yourself up so you can be as comfortable as possible. And then as you make your way to that place, you might let your eyes close. And we're going to give ourselves the gift of relaxation now. There's nothing we need to do right now. There's nothing we need to think about or worry about. We're going to give ourselves some time and space to just completely let go and relax. So let the weight of your body soften and settle into the floor. Feel the weight of your heels on the floor. Let the calves release into the floor. Let the back of the knees relax. Let the thighs melt into the floor. Feel the muscles of the seat relaxing. Feel the belly relaxing, the gut unclenching. Allow the weight of your shoulders and arms to release heavily into the floor, softening your palms, your elbows. Feel the shoulders opening up, the chest releasing, relaxing. Let the weight of your head rest back. Soften your jaw, relax your eyes, smooth your forehead. Just let yourself rest here, easy, open, relax. Let yourself be in this very natural, easy, relaxed state. Let this relaxation be an act of kindness for yourself, an act of caring for yourself. Offer yourself a little space, a little vacation, a little rest, a little repose. So as you continue lying back, or you can transition up if you like, I'm going to share one of my favorite readings from Danna Falls with you. She says, "This is what I have to say to you. Do not let the day slip through your fingers, but live it fully now. This breath, this glimpse of newly risen sun catapulting you into full awareness. Time is precious. Minutes disappearing like water into sand unless you choose to pay attention. Since you do not know the number of your days, treat each as if it is your last. Be that compassionate with yourself, that open and loving to others, that determined to give what is yours to give and to let in the energy and wonder of this world. If you are tempted by complacency to miss the gift of twin fawns in the yard or a towhee scratching at the feeder, choose to be awake instead. Experience everything, writing, relating, eating, doing all the necessary little tasks of life as if for the first time, pushing nothing aside as unimportant. You have received these same instructions many times before. This time, take them into your soul. For if you choose to live this way, you will be rich beyond measure, grateful beyond words, and the day of your death will arrive with no regrets." So those are some really powerful, meaningful words from Danna Faulds. So if you're still lying back, you might just want to stay there, and that's fine. If you're ready to transition, you might open your eyes, might bend your knees and bring your feet to the floor. You might gently roll to your side, take a moment or two to transition, and then make your way up to sitting. And we close out our practice, perhaps bringing our hands to heart, just taking some time to reflect and connect. Maybe some few moments for gratitude. So grateful to have this opportunity to be together and practice. Thanks for being here. Peace.